What's up, everybody? Welcome back to GameSpot. Cross, kind of funny. I'm Greg Miller. This is the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty, who's been working his balls off today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And that's David Jaffe, who never worked a day in his life. I'm kidding. David Jaffe. Drawn to death.
Yeah, one of your balls rolled over here.
Don't touch it. Don't even
now, what do you want to tell me on the air? What are you going to do?
So, okay, here's what's fascinating. So I've listened to you for ages, you guys for ages on IGN and now on your new stuff. And when you're on, I saw Conan O'Brien about 5 years ago when he was doing his show before it went to TBS. And he is it's very similar. It's kind of bizarre because when you're not on camera, you're a totally different guy.
I'm dialed down.
You're so dialed down, but it's like I'm the same. So I'm this here and I'm this when I'm sitting off stage. But you do your Greg so well that when you're not Greg, it's like it's unsettling. I don't like it.
I'm sorry. It's like seeing Bozo without his makeup
you
on.
need to
You're like,
fix
no,
that.
this clown's got to be a clown all the time.
That is a great reference.
Right? Yeah.
Don't be too kind to him. His ego's already inflated enough.
But no, because you seem more standard.
Thank you.
Right, but
he's happier on camera.
Is that right?
He puts aside all of his baggage. He's happy.
I have a lot of baggage.
Fair enough. As do I.
Yeah. So David.
Yes.
We have you for a long time.
Cool.
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Where do you want to start? You want to talk about Drawn to Death?
I'll talk about whatever you got. You know me. I'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'll talk about,
When you first left, and you're like, we're doing the Bartlett Detective Agency.
That's right.
Your developer house.
Partially
a
development.
I thought that was the game. I thought that was the game.
No, we have two. We do two things. We do game development, and we have a division of the company that does actual paranormal research. So,
okay, that all makes sense.
But the game, people always thought, oh, you're doing a haunted house game.
Yeah.
And that was never. I'd love to, but that was never the case.
Then do it.
I want to.
Put your money where your mouth is.
We will. Oh, we will.
Will you? All right.
Fuck yeah.
That's another kind of funny exclusive. Next game's haunted house game.
It's called Shenmue 4. I think we have a good
That game's scary enough as it is. So what's going on with Drawn to Death? How's everything coming along?
I think great. We're, it's fun to be here. The last time we had it out for the public to play was at PSX, and that was really great. And then, we've done a lot of work since then. And whenever you put a game in front of people, it's really scary. I mean, it's really terrifying. Are they going to like it? Are they going to get it? And so it's like anything else probably with you guys. Like, all these great tweets, oh, I played Drawn to Death, I loved it, and that makes you feel great. And then you go to the booth and everybody's loving it, and there's one guy who walks away half through the game, and it just breaks your fucking heart, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's going great. I mean, so I just got here today. I wasn't here yesterday, but so far people are digging it and getting it. So,
what's the difference in terms of build? Like, have you come a long way since PSX?
Yeah, we have. I mean, what we're really trying to do is build a game that feels like sort of the child of Quake and Doom with Super Smash Brothers or Power Stone, right? So
we want to, awesome.
So we want to build in the arena shooter, but we also want to have, more of a relationship between the characters in terms of different abilities and counters, and a lot of the weapons having multiple functions and stages. And so we've been able to build a lot more of that into the build for today, for the E3 build. And we'll be launching, I think maybe around Christmas, a little after, a little before. We haven't really announced yet.
Yeah,
but it's
you're doing it right now, though. There's your announcement. Another scoop for Kind of Funny. Haunted house game, Christmas-ish.
Well, the reason I'm saying is because what's fun about it is we are building it as a service game, so we are doing a slow rollout over the summer, and then starting to see what people like and making changes. So I've never done a game like that before, so it's been fun so far.
Yeah, one of the things I loved about your presentation at PSX when we were there, first of all, you showed an amazing amount of humility, and we talked about this afterwards about I loved you on stage. I loved, because we do the same thing. We're nothing without the people that support us, and I love that you acknowledge that. A lot of people walk through life and never acknowledge that you're there because people supported you, and so I loved that about you. But I also loved at PSX that you were there and you talked to everyone and you got instruction from the gamers being like, this works and this doesn't. How did you compile all that information after PSX to instruct your team moving forward?
Well, so I mean, I can't. The role of a producer in video games is really unsung. I mean, I can't do what I do, and the team can't do what they do without a great producer. And part of launching Bartlett Jones was finding the right guy or the right woman to do that. And so Nick Cananellis, who's producing the game, I mean, the guy's like fucking, Rain Man he just sat there with the data and just compiled it all and figured out this means this means we need to do that. And so, I mean, it was, it's that balance though, right? Because we really want to make it clear to gamers that if they play Drawn to Death, they are getting a curated vision. We're not short order cooks. It's not like there's a lot of free-to-play games that are like, make the game with us. It's like, no, we'll fucking make the game. We know what we want to do. But within that realm, we want feedback. And we want to know, hey, did we miss the mark here? Or is this working? Is this fun? So it's that balance between getting feedback that speaks to the vision that the team has and not going so far astray that you're just like, tell me what you want. I'll make whatever you want. Just buy my shit. You don't want to do that either. But, yeah, so Nick took all that data and just – we got back to the office that next Monday, and it was like, all right, here's the top 20 things that people hate. Let's fix those things.
Right.
So, what was on the list?
We had some camera issues. You know, a lot of standard stuff when you're dealing with a third-person shooter. We had some art style issues regarding needing things to pop better. Like, we love our art style, but at the time it was really hard for players to see certain things in the level. So stuff like that.
Nice.
Oh. Yeah.
So you said, you know, you're a lot to learn. You're jumping into this new kind of game, free-to-play and all this stuff. How long did it take you to get a grasp of it? Are you still going with it? We don't have a grasp of it yet. I mean, there's the development of any game, and every time you start any project, it's a brand new thing. So you've got to learn that. And on the side, you've also got this brand new business model. And, you know, I mean, I've worked with Sony. I've had the pleasure and privilege of being able to work with Sony for my whole career. Yeah. And one of the things among many that made us want to do this with Sony versus other people we had talked to was they wanted to do free-to-play the way we wanted to do free-to-play, which is, you know, it's I've said it a lot in the press lately, but it is true. It's free-to-play made by a team that hates free-to-play. So I fucking hate free-to-play as a designer in terms of traditional free-to-play, because what it does is, like, why would you want to go to work every day and make a game that basically is worse than it could be simply because you've got this meta business model that's just constantly bearing down on the player and ruins the experience. So, but what we loved about free-to-play was it's like television, it's like podcasting, it's like, look at all these people that will give our game a chance that wouldn't at a retail title. So it was about going to Sony and sitting with them and saying, here's the stuff that we want to sell, here's the stuff that we want to monetize, but here's the stuff that's absolutely sacred, which it's just, we would rather just not make the game if we're going to have to monetize that. And Scott Rohde was just like, fuck yeah, I'm more of a gamer than you are. I don't want to monetize that shit either. Yeah. And so so is it going to work? It's the noblest of intentions. It may come out, though, and people pat you on the back and say, great job, Jaffe, for not selling power, but who knows if the game's going to work. But the fact that we got it. Yeah, but you don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, there have been games that have tried to be super respectful of the player, but end of the day, as much as that's there, you still have to make money. You guys still have to say, you know, your podcast is sponsored by these 4 or 5 folks, and it's the nature of doing business. The nice thing is, you know, the good podcast, if we're going to that, I don't know why I'm just jumping to that, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. The good ones are the ones that are able to sort of weave that into the conversation in a way that it doesn't feel like you're being marketed to. Right. I love WTF with Mark Maron. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, stop with fucking 12 minutes of ads at the front. Before we get to our show, let's pay the bills. Let me just skip all that. And karmically, I feel terrible. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, half my drive is over. I'd rather you weave it in like you guys do, or like Nerdist does it at the beginning. But it's quicker. But Mark's show is just like, dude, it's 12 fucking minutes. Right. So anyway, it's tangent, but there you go.
No, it makes sense.
I think you're bringing up good points, though. I think in the fact you've talked about other games that had the noblest of intentions before and not had it work out. But I think right now is you have a different angle on it. And the fact that you are David Jaffe, people know you. You're a mouthpiece. You're out there. You're talking. You have personality. And the fact that I think right now, as evidenced by us and this and everything else that is kind of funny, we're lucky enough that as us as consumers or people who are consuming our content understand that relationship of, I really dig this and I could get it for free, but I'm one of the 1% that wants to give you money for it to keep going. Right. Absolutely. No. Yeah. I mean, and I think I don't have other podcasts done the thing where it's like you get it a little bit later if you don't pay. I haven't like we do?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I think, there's a few different ones. Rooster Teeth windows all their content, stuff like that. But again, that's, you know,
it makes sense.
Smaller
it makes
group
sense,
in terms of the giant things, but that keep you out
but
there
to your point, it's important for us that pretty much all of our content's available eventually for you if you want.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. So we have this thing. I mean, one of the things that Nick coined was just the term. You know, we're not doing pay for power or pay to win, but it is kind of like pay for awesome. So we are saying, look, you know, we've got things that are conceptually cool that we think you're going to want to play with.
and we're going to charge for those, whether it's virtual currency or real currency. But we have like a rental model, and it's a rental model that the rental price applies to the purchase price. So if we have a weapon that's like $1, and it's like, you know what, you can rent that for $0.10 for 4 or 5 games, and if you like it, suddenly the price to buy it is only 90 cents now. So it's everything that we can do to say, look, we know what it's like to feel shitty in a free-to-play game, but we also know that what's great about a free-to-play game is the player base is huge, and you can always go online and find a game. And so we want to figure out a way to make sure that both audiences are served. So anyway, so when you say, is this brand new? Yes, we're having to balance and learn about this whole new business, and at the same time make a game which is as hard as it's ever been. It's never easy. It's like
how big is your team right
now? Locally in San Diego, we have about 30 game developers. We have about 4 people on the Go side, but they don't really contribute to the game. And then we have people all over the world that are doing, outsourcing for art and things like that. So,
are you, with the team you have now?
Yeah.
These 30 people. Are you prepared to admit that we're the better Towerfall players? Like, you probably watered down your Towerfall group.
Listen, my daughter could kick your ass at Towerfall.
Oh, could she now?
And she's 9. Yeah. So I assume there's a setup here.
I'm not shooting. No, I wish. We brought the Wii U.
If only we had that kind of foresight.
That's kind of like being on a talk show and it's like, Anna Kendrick, you do yodeling? Oh, you don't want to hear that. Where's the fucking tower?
All right, we fucked up. We're sorry.
Totally
but it was just
up.
I wanted to make sure you know that the rivalry still burns. You got to come to San Francisco.
I'm ready.
Come to San Francisco.
Yep.
Talk about your game, whatever, then play Towerfall.
Absolutely.
With us.
We should have like a bet. We should have some kind of money at stake for charity or some such.
Okay. No, I like
that.
I like that.
I like that a lot. So, a lot of people walk around the industry and maybe rightfully so sometimes say there's a vacancy of new ideas. There's just not that many new ideas anymore, right? It's the same annualized shooter. It's the same whatever platform, 8-bit platformer. Drawn to Death. When I saw that, I was like, this is one of the most novel ideas I've seen in years.
Cool.
Conceptually, how did you come up with an idea like that, and how do you sell it? Because presumably you go to Sony, and maybe they want something more like Killzone than something like Drawn to Death. But how do you say, like, no, actually, you want this instead?
I mean, we had a lot of interest in Drawn to Death, so it wasn't that. I mean, we thought it was a strong concept. A lot of it is the budget. I mean, if I would have walked in with Drawn to Death and I would have said, I need $80 million to make this game, they would have said, oh, okay, go fuck off, right? But, I mean, you have to be sensible about when you're bringing something to the market that is conceptually different or risky, that, your budget has to sort of live in accordance with that. But, I mean, that was never, the concept came from me wanting to do a dodgeball game, and I wanted to do this really hyper-violent dodgeball game, and I don't draw well, and so I had this stick figure beaming this dodgeball into this other stick figure. And so I just kind of wrote, it was called like hyper-violent, super big-headed, violent dodgeball. I don't know, that was what it was called. And from there it just evolved into, this should be in a kid's notebook, and this should be a shooter, and this should be this. But I mean, again, anybody, if you're honestly saying people walk around the industry and saying that, I think that's somebody who's walking around saying that it has a lack of perspective on what's actually happening in the industry. If you look at Xbox, at Sony, at Steam, the amount of creativity and fresh ideas are all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere to be seen, and I don't believe that. I think there was a time when you could say that about the industry. I don't think we're there anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that you just have to look a little harder sometimes. Yeah. But that's basically, I mean, it's just the unfortunate nature of some people just disparage a downloadable game or a $10 game. Right. They think every game has to cost $60. And if you want to be in that realm, then maybe you are going to find a lack of diversity. But
oh, what a surprise. Halo 5. I know. But, when you're ignoring all the indies, when you're ignoring what
I feel like every week there's something.
Well, even, I mean, again, if you look, I mean, again, this is why it's always that I get that question sometimes. And, again, my career so far, I'm grateful to say, has been with Sony. When you are swimming in that DNA of, I mean, look at the Horizon, Last Guardian.
They got this new game, God of War 3.
Yeah, well, okay, well, right. Okay, but, I mean, Dreams, I mean, it's never been part of going into a meeting with Alan Becker or Scott Rohde or Shuhei, and it's like, no, I want a military shooter.
Right.
I always say, Shuhei, when he heard me pitch God of War, which you'd think, well, that's kind of a slam dunk. He's just like, well, what's innovative about this? I'm like, oh. And I had to pitch him on it.
Right.
But if you go into Rhodey's office and you pitch him Call of Duty, he'd be like, well, they already make Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So I that hasn't been my experience getting to work with Sony, that they're looking for just make us the next thing. And I think that bears out if you look at the library of games year after year from that company. And sometimes they get the shit kicked out of them commercially because some of this stuff doesn't sell.
Right.
But they still keep making it, and thank God.
And I was going to say, that's important, right? Like we had Peter Moore on here, and he was talking about the new game with the yarn.
That
Unravel.
was great.
Unravel.
That was so great.
And he's like, it's not going to make money. It's going to be a loss.
And that's coming from EA. Oh my God, what happened? That's fantastic.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing is he was really down to earth, saying like, listen, we make all this money on FIFA. We'll break even on this if we can. And he's like, it's our duty to bring this game out.
And maybe maybe there's a little spin there, right? I mean, of course they want to make money on it.
Sure.
And I bet it will make money. I can't imagine that thing is budgeted at such a level that they have to sell 1 million units to break even. But yeah, I don't even know if it's maybe I'm responding in this way because when I look at that game, it doesn't feel like it's a duty. It feels like that's a work of love.
Right.
It feels like that's a work from someone who really, or a team that really wanted to express that. And it's charming and it's very cool. And so I love it. That's one of my favorite things I've seen so far, from the press conferences is that game.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up?
Is that mic up? I don't think his mic's even up. Kevin, bring up Nick's microphone. He's got the oh shit mic. He means something.
Hello.
Bad. There you go, Nick.
Sorry.
Come on up. Come into the frame.
I'm going to come into the frame.
Come up here.
We need one more. We have a boy band.
Do you know Nick Scarpino?
We've met a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Now, but have you met him since he's an internet superstar twice over?
I haven't, but
you probably knew when he was still respectful and had a respectful job.
I've been a little shy, so I don't want to.
Oh yeah, you are a very shy man, David Jaffe.
David Jaffe, as you know, we are quickly blowing up, and because of that, we want to give out awards for the games that we like.
Yeah.
Now, I just went over and played your game.
Oh, great!
And I liked it.
You
did?
I
liked it a lot.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It reminds me of not paying attention in Spanish class.
That's exactly what we were going for.
And I really like that. So I'd like to give you the first of my Kind of Funny Approve awards.
Oh, cool.
Live.
Can we put that on the booth?
That's the whole point. It's got
that's so great.
There's double-sided tape on the back of it.
There you go.
Oh, I'm going to walk around with this on my shoulder most of the day. Have a little conversation about things.
Stick it on your shirt for all the rest of your interviews.
I love that. That's great.
We can put it on a chain for you if you want to wear it like Cisco.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was here yesterday, right?
He did.
That's cool.
He's
I'm always excited about what celebrities are like going to come to the booth,
Yeah.
It was a fun one yesterday.
Was he the biggest one people saw yesterday? Spielberg comes every year, and I have never been around when he's played any game I've worked on, but I would just be like, oh my fucking God.
J.J. Abrams comes through usually with his son, too.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, Cisco was big yesterday. He was. I know Soulja Boy was floating around playing games.
But but Cisco and Soulja Boy, they haven't really had
Cisco
music out in a while, right?
Cisco's gone indie like we did.
Oh, good.
So he's still making music and touring. He just came back from China. He's making enough money to fly here on his own dime to come be on our stupid show. So, yeah, he's doing pretty well.
That's cool.
Tomorrow we have Devin Sawa, though. So there
I don't know who that is.
Idle Hands. Final Destination.
Nikita.
Okay, great.
Nikita. And Brandon Routh's coming.
I don't know. Oh, okay, there you go.
There you go.
Did you see the trailer for M. Night's new movie, the Grandma movie?
No.
Oh, my fucking God. Has anybody seen this?
No, tell us all about it. Tell the crowd.
Kevin, pull up
the
trailer.
Do you want to hear about
it?
it?
No, it's so creepy. It's first off, it's Shyamalan, and you never know what you're going to get.
A twist.
Well, maybe, not always. But it's just fucking go to the trailer. It is the creepiest thing. And
we can't actually go to the trailer.
We're not going to go to the trailer.
No, I mean in your life.
Go watch it.
Watch it.
Throughout the course of your life, watch the trailer.
I'm going to go give the rest of these out.
Okay.
This is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On behalf of the
Thanks
team.
for coming on the show.
Yeah, you want me to take this?
Yeah, I got it right here.
I'm going to cut some eye holes in it, and I'll just be.
Please do that. Do that when you're at home with your family. Just be me for a few minutes.
Hold on for 2 seconds. We're wrapping up. So you can chill out for the next 15 seconds as we wrap it up.
Nice.
David Jaffe, we love you. You have to come to San Francisco.
I would love to.
You are welcome with us anytime, so
please
do
come up. Thank you very much.
We're doing that extra
I love what you're doing. Do you like being off IGN? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
being indie's great. Yeah, I mean, IGN was awesome to us for 8 years.
Yeah,
but
no,
this
I
is
know.
pretty amazing.
But yeah, we're very honored by the support we get from everyone, and thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us.
Every week when I drive to work. It's wonderful.
Drawn to Death.
Yep.
It's coming out Christmas-ish, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of. David Jaffe.